happening.
Two tiebreakers already on the winners bracket. Taiwan versus UK, Philippines versus US, and now we have Malaysia versus Canada as well about to start. So potentially another tiebreaker on the way for everyone here. And man, I don't even have time to recap this match because the other one is on their way already. But I'm not sure if we will end up swapping streamers. If that's the case, we will take a bit of a break. About 5 minutes will do. But my goodness, what have we just witnessed? That was looking like Philippines all the way through, and at some point the United States just started shrinking that lead and taking advantage of those misses. It had to come down to Charlie's misses at the ending. I think had they performed, like had they called a combo through that ending, I believe the United States had it.
Yeah, there's definitely a world in which the United States could have just snuck that at the end, but unfortunately just untimely misses there at the end, they're undoing, especially because of the fact that the two players with the highest accuracy for the United States just finding the drops left and right. Meanwhile, their lowest accuracy player holding onto the FC. If they had the supporting combo to basically back up Sky there, it could have been completely different. But with that being said, I mean, you just got to tip your cap. That was as even as it could have been all the way to the end. And ultimately somebody has to lose.
I mean, we reached that point of the tournament when matches get this close and this intense, and then you realize one of the two teams needs to get knocked down to the losers bracket. And at some point, that's going to become, well, one of the two teams has to get eliminated. And this time, the short end of the stick on the side of the United States, they were looking like they were doing the impossible, as they were down, losing their own pick, getting break points against, and they came back from that. Unfortunately, they couldn't on the tiebreaker. City Costa's performance across the entire matchup, and specifically on the tiebreaker there, certainly being the main difference maker here of the match.
Yeah, for sure. But with that being said, we turn our attention to the next match. It is the aforementioned Malaysia versus Canada, and we are already underway with the first pick. This is Malaysia's first pick in this match. We'll recap the protects and bans once this map is over. We shall see how these teams perform. Both these countries can actually swing some pretty incredible performances on these LNs. These are going to be hotly contested throughout this match. And right now, Canada holding on to the advantage, 3,000 points to the good. As we make our way into the second quarter, wait for everything to get synced back up. And as it stands, Hollow the Wise finding the first break here on the build-up, still holding on to the advantage, but Malaysia's going to start to quickly pull this one back in their favor. As we continue on here, still half the map left to go, and it is a bit of a tug-of-war now, as Hollow finds another break here, all the way down into the 98% range. Everybody on Malaysia holding on to their full combo as it stands, and it helps extend this lead to the tune of about 30,000 points.
Remember, this is a pick by Malaysia here, so they are going all out on long the promise. They were looking a bit rough at the start, but apparently Hollow the Wise just kind of imploded there. They were holding immense accuracies, but struggling a little bit to keep the combo, and the accuracy just went downhill very, very quickly.
Yeah, it just kind of snowballed out of control there for them. Very unfortunate, but as it stands, Malaysia will take that and run with it as far away as they can, with the last liver chart upcoming, increasing their lead once again off the back of another miss from Hollow the Wise. It is 42,000 points, a very convincing opening pick for Malaysia to start this match off, and it will be 1-0 as we take a second to catch our breath here. And with that out of the way, we can take stock of what occurred before this map started. We started off with the wonderful rolls. A very high 13 by Malaysia, answered by the equally as high 8. So Malaysia won the roll. They ended up protecting LN4. Canada went for SV1. And then afterwards, Canada banned LN5. So answering back that LN protect with a ban, and rounding it out with SV2 for Malaysia getting banned out. So basically, both countries answering each other's protects with a ban in the same category, and Canada gonna go straight for that SV1 pick. Alrighty, so we see some substitutions coming through here. It will be the SV-oriented lineups for both of these countries. Looks like it will be Funeral, J-Lie, and Everear. For Malaysia, for Canada, we have Commando Black, the entirety of Twitch chat, and Hollow the Wise, looking to try and restore parity here through this opener. Do we get the MP Star command here? Gonna get into the second map of this best of 11. See if Canada can answer back or if Malaysia can pick up a first break point in this match. And for right now, very good start for Malaysia. This is such a swingy pick. Things can go so wrong in an instant. You are not allowed to miss halfway through because you will never make it back up over that 400 combo cap after a while. So want to make sure you don't miss at any point in this chart. And as things start to even out, we see the scoreline come back to parity. We're going to play a bit of tug of war through the second quarter, but for right now, still advantage Malaysia just for the moment. Everear really winning the battle against Commando Black, but J-Lie gonna find the first miss. Everear falls as well on the transition, anticipating some of these teleports, and that is gonna really torpedo their overall team score as it goes the way of Canada. But Twitch chat finds a drop in response, loses about 10,000 points in an instant. As we continue on into the back half, not over by any stretch of the imagination. Wild swings can still occur on this pick if you're not too careful. And as we continue on, last quarter of the chart coming through here, everything staying relatively put, but Funeral finding the next drop, and immediately the score lead doubles in favor of Canada. And as the dust begins to settle, no more misses allowed basically, and you're gonna see more of the same. Anybody drops from here on out, you're basically say goodbye to about a good 20 to 30,000 points. And with each LN, each rice node that rains down, you see that lead continue to increase for Canada. And at the end of the day, they will be able to successfully restore parity. It is 1-1 between these two countries. So now with Malaysia up to pick once again. What did they decide to go for? That first LN pick worked out massively in their favor. So potentially finding an opening for the rest of this match through there, similar to what we saw in the earlier match between the Philippines and the United States. Alrighty, and it looks like after a little bit of deliberation, it's going to be LN3 here coming through for Malaysia going into Doctrine. Bit of a palate cleanser, getting the tiebreaker in there. Give everybody a bit of a system shock. But no, we do get Doctrine loaded up here. That will be the order of business. And we see the more LN-oriented rosters make their reappearance. Dylan, Twitch Chat, and Hollow the Wise going up against Funeral, J-Li, and White Albino. Bit of a longer map in comparison to the earlier LN pick. Almost double the length.
How did you just call that user?
White Albino.
Oh. What if it's just YouTube Albino?
I mean, it could be. It made the most sense to me.
Twitch Chat versus YouTube battle.
You know what? For you, yeah, it's a YouTube versus Twitch Chat battle. Which one's better?
I mean, I guess I just had to go for Twitch Chat, right? They're watching.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing. Literally.
Oh boy.
But as it stands, much more balanced start compared to the earlier two picks. Canada eking out a tiny bit of an advantage, but everybody holding firm through this introduction. 99.7s across the board.
Oh, Hollow the Wise again. That's a weird problem. Like, Hollow has been holding really great accuracies, but whenever they drop combo once, it's like the entire score just collapses. Which is very weird. Like, I don't really understand.
Yeah, it's a bit of a knock-on effect with their misses. I think they just get in their own head a little bit throughout the rest of the performance, begins to kind of hyper-focus on acting their way through the rest of it, and when you really start to tunnel on getting good accuracy on maps like this, that's really when the mistakes start to come out, and it just kind of snowballs from there. But they're starting to pull it together a little bit, back over that 400 combo cap, now up over 99.5%. And meanwhile, on the other side, some accuracy drops here and there, but still overall, the average accuracy for Malaysia and the miss in the back pocket accounting for this 8,000 point lead at the moment going into the back half.
I mean, the lead is not unrecoverable by any means. It's only 8,000 points, and the accuracy by Hollow is just climbing. But the problem, I think, it's mostly off the back of like the FCs that Canada is currently holding. The accuracies are not as big as someone like, for example, J-Li on this Malaysian side here. And unless, I believe, not even a single miss may turn the tables here, it's most likely just 2 that could make a change. Perhaps even 3 may be needed for Canada here to take an advantage.
Yeah, for sure. With a third of the map still left to go, things staying relatively the same. Malaysia actually growing their advantage off the back of both YT and Funeral starting to climb up in terms of accuracy, coming up to meet Jay in that 99.7 mark. And both Dylan and Twitch Chat kind of falling by the wayside a little bit, losing about a 10th here or there as we continue on. Last quarter still coming through here. Hollow the Wise doing very well to recover some of that accuracy, but again, it's still that miss in the back pocket for Malaysia that they're working with that is able to keep these Canadians at bay for now. And with the outro coming through here, it would have to take a collapse here for Canada to eke out the point. I think Malaysia's done just enough to see themselves through pretty convincingly on the second LN pick.
And it feels like even without that miss by Hollow the Wise, it would have probably been the same fate, just a little bit closer, obviously, because the accuracy is a bit in favor of Malaysia nonetheless. If you go by one, every player on the Malaysian team is outplaying accuracy-wise the Canadian counterparts. And as you see, 2 versus 6, 4 versus 10, 13 versus 17 in terms of 200s. It is Malaysia who takes this at the end of the day. I don't know if they managed to get a 990k. I believe the player who just left, J-Li, had an 990k, but overall, scores pretty close in the land department. Canada now, without the SB on the way, they'll be looking to maybe capitalize off of something else. I'm not really sure what do they have available. I'm being a bit AFK.
I mean, they have the entirety of the rice pool available to them.
Well, yeah,
Down a couple of LM picks.
that would make
And
sense for them to go for. I mean, I kind of want to say Oxygen Destroyer now, but because they are looking pretty good on the land department, really. So it's just that they need to get the consistency together a little bit. They're going for chili sauce, though, so rice strategy. See if it works out for Canada. I think they're closer on their lands than they think. So I think going for rice, trying to touch the waters a little bit, see if they have a chance there, and then just hope for Malaysia to drop it at an Olympic and have them do the breakpoint. Probably something. Oh, it's Jay Lai and not Jay Lee. Okay, that's good to know.
yeah, we're going to see the more rice-oriented lineup come through for Canada. Going to be Robert, Twitch Chat, and probably Hollow coming back in. It's interesting. They do have the option of bringing Dylan as well, but it's actually Commando Black, so usually reserved for the SVs coming in for the rice here. Maybe reaching a level of physicality that's more suited for them. Maybe a bit more of a late game rice oriented player for the Canadians. Going to be interesting to see how they perform. Meanwhile, on the side of Malaysia, Funeral, YT Albino, and JLI staying put to contest on this pick. Alrighty, and with that out of the way, we're going to get into this fourth map of this best of 11. Currently, Malaysia ahead with Canada looking to restore parity on their pick. Breakpoint potential on the cards here. It's the first rice pick. We don't know how these two countries are going to perform against each other. Going to glean a lot of valuable information with this pick.
Seems to be quite a popular pick here, chili sauce. The opening strategy for both of the rice teams that we saw so far being deployed here. And as it stands, Malaysia seems to be out accuracy in Canada at the start here. Mostly of the backup commandos, Black's accuracy being a little bit subpar compared to everybody else. Although YT Albino, not too crazy either in the accuracy department.
Yeah, right now it's a 2v2 between Robert, Twitch Chat, J-Line, and Funeral, and Albino and Commando Black are basically having their own duel. And that's basically what's deciding this map right now. Albino ahead by about 2,000 points and 0.2% over Commando Black. But J-Line finding the first drop here on this pick, going to swing the lead immediately back in favor of the Canadians going into the second quarter here. And this is the window of opportunity that they needed to start wrenching this lead back. It was a little bit dicey there in the early goings, just based on the accuracy alone. So, gonna take what they're given and try and run with it as best as they can.
I mean, with only a third of the map gone, so two-thirds still on the way, I believe Malaysia may have a chance to just out accuracy Canada enough that they can recover this lead off the back of the ratio here. Because despite Commandos Black increasing accuracy, Twitch Chat's accuracy has been decreasing a little bit, whereas Funeral and J-Live have been holding very strong here. Robert trying the best to equalize here, but it's only ruling one player out. And if you compare accuracy side by side, it is barely ahead, but it is for Malaysia by about maybe 0.5% or so, or even 0.8%, I'll argue. With the miss, of course, making up for it, Canada's on the lead, but that can swap any time. And Twitch now drops, which will swing that immediately, and it does.
Oh, that is such an important combo to lose. If you are Malaysia, that is the second highest accuracy from Canada, now down the drain, needing to make the recovery run. And it's a 4,000 point swing 3,000 points to lead for Malaysia and growing because of the fact that they had the accuracy advantage over some of their counterparts. They can start to stretch this a little bit. Not out of the woods just yet. A miss could throw a bit of a spanner in the works, but with the last sliver of chart coming through, everybody makes it through the roll unscathed. And as we continue on here, the lead is shrinking. There were some accuracy drops unaccounted for. The lead has shrunk in half, but I think Malaysia has done just enough. It's still 2,000 points teetering on that nice edge.
A miss at the very end is enough here, but it won't happen. It's 1,900 points of advantage for the Malaysians, and the V1 not SS for J-Li, as they had a singular mistake. That almost was enough. Like, if you check the 200s, Canada has the upper hand. They had less 200s overall than the Malaysians, but I think ratio-wise, it was barely in favor of Malaysia. Barely, just barely.
Just barely. But it was enough in the end. And the first break point going the way of the Malaysians to really crack this match open and Canada up to ban to try and close up this map pool a little bit. And wouldn't be surprised if we saw an LN ban, which is actually interesting. It feels like a reversal of what Canada would want to do. Normally they've had a really balanced LN lineup to take some of these critical points, but with Malaysia up to the task on the LNs, do you potentially get rid of what would basically just be LN1? Or do you go for the hybrids? I mean, Lapse of Memory is also a pretty decent shout for ban potential.
I mean, Restless Song is also not completely off the charts, I think. But they're gonna ban World Execute Me, alright.
Yeah,
I think I agree with this. Yeah, I was about to say, like, despite Malaysia looking like it was very close, the farm against Canada, World Executes Me is less physical, more technical, and I can see Malaysia just having the better time in accuracy. Considering that Canada struggled a little bit when their misses started to come apart from Holo. And they're going immediately for Bidden here, so no more LM maps.
Yeah, just speed ran that portion of the map pool. Very popular and targeted between these two countries. And as we wait to get it loaded up, the message might have gotten eaten for our referee. Needed a second reading of it, but we got there in the end.
Another short battle. Last time we saw this, it was a very decisive win for the LN team. Will this be the same fate? Malaysia going for potentially their fourth victory here. They only lost on SP so far. They are looking to capitalize and extend this lead to 4-1. 3 points of advantage would be very sweet for them. Remember, Canada's only one breakpoint down, so they take 1 point off the Malaysians' picks, then they are back in it immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the transition, some substitutions here. J-Li Funeral Readjust stepping in for Malaysia. Dylan Hollow the Wise making their reappearance. Twitch chat staying put here. And right now, not a lot of difference between these two countries as it stands. Everybody having a very strong start to this pick.
So far, this is very close. If anything, it seems like Canada's on the lead here. Check accuracy side by side. Twitch chat certainly pulling ahead here compared to everybody else. But as the streams goes through, Holos and Dylan's accuracies decrease a little bit, whereas J-Li and Funeral stay the same. And that lead that it once was on Canada's side is now on Malaysia's, as halfway through the map they have the superior accuracy here. 6-way FC though so far, Miss can certainly make up for this difference.
Absolutely. But if you keep it clean enough, might just keep it in your favor at this point. 5,000 points just based on accuracy alone is pretty sizable given the discrepancies we're starting to see, as you mentioned, just chip damage being taken by the Canadians, and it seems that Malaysia is taking that and running with it. For every 100th of a percent that a Canadian loses, one of the Malaysians builds even further, and right now the JLI really setting themselves apart compared to everybody else in this lobby. 99.83% to round it out, 9,000 points to margin, and Malaysia successfully capitalized on that break point to make it 4-1. Wish they would have stayed in the lobby that little bit longer. Would have loved to have seen that ratio. In fact, I can pull it up right now. That was a 200 performance from JLI, 994k. And I mean, what a team score from Malaysia, 991s for their supporting cast. What more could you ask for?
I guess for them to stay on the lobby for a little bit longer so we can see the score.
True. do us a favor. Let us react to your incredible performances, please. And Canada, maybe feeling a little bit of pressure here. Hybrid 1 going to be the pick. To be fair, basically Rice 6. A lot of players like to refer to the Hybrid 1s in this tournament as just another Rice pick. It is the most Rice biased hybrid.
Hello, it's me, Sophia. Yes, this is an emergency. Yes, the way they put it down on me got the whole room tipsy.
Oh, and it is worth mentioning, not straightforward as some might think. There are some SVs thrown into this pick just for good measure, as if though players want to deal with more SV, but adds a little bit of spice to the mix. And for right now, we see the substitutions coming in as well. Dylan and Robert checking back in for Canada. White Albino coming back in for Malaysia, along with Funeral here. So looks like everybody is ready. We're going to get into the 6th map of this best of 11. Malaysia 3 did the good at the moment. Canada looking to try and reel them back in before it gets a little bit too far out of reach. Gonna need to do it on the first hybrid of this match. And through that first opening alphabet barrage, everybody makes it through relatively unscathed. A couple of tenths lost here and there. Twitch Chat and Funeral basically faring worse for wear. White Albino finding the first drop for the Malaysians, going to give Canada a bit of an advantage to work with. About 7,000 points, now 9,000 points as we continue on through these verses into the second quarter. And still continuing on, all 3 FCs still intact for Canada, 2 on the side of Malaysia, but the lead only grows for the Canadians, 14,000 points as everybody kind of locked in. Malaysians taking chip damage here and there, similar to how the Canadians were on the LN picks, but 99.3 is not the mark you want to be hitting to try and contest on this pick, and it is working in favor of the Canadians as we make our way into the back half now. Off the back of this incredible performance so far from Robert, 99.7 for them, holding down the fort for their country as Funeral, the next one to find a couple of drops here, not handling it all that well, but Dylan trades one of those back, and Robert falls as well.
Oh, it was looking so good for the Canadians, and now they are starting to struggle a little bit. They're still looking good though. Yeah, they have the accuracy upper hand by a fair bit off the back of Funeral's accuracies. But with those combo drops, I mean, the lead's gonna shrink. Still a quarter of song remaining. So, I mean, Canada should be fine for the most part. Now that they hit the combo cap, they just need to not really miss anymore.
Yeah, when all is said and done, it's still a 12,000 point advantage for them to work with. Don't really want to get dicey with it here at the ending. Just keep it clean. Doesn't have to be the prettiest accuracy. Wide albino finder drop. That might be the final nail in the coffin for a potential comeback for the Malaysians. As we reach this outro, everybody just keeping it locked in. And when all is said and done,
on their own pick. Right. Nice call, actually. I think this was not the most expected pick, but certainly one that worked wonders.
absolutely. And just what they needed to kind of right the ship a little bit. They were kind of reeling from the last couple of picks, just trying to find an answer to what Malaysia had been doing. And with that out of the way, the Ellens are done. Malaysia has no more comfort picks to go into. I imagine Hybrid 4 might be the option for them, given that it was left open. But they do also have the Rice picks. Could potentially find a weakness there to work with as well. So some decisions to be made in this middle point of the match.
I think the path for Malaysia here is Last of Memory into Restless Song, but perhaps Oxygen Destroyer. So we shall see. I don't think they should go for Rise. I think Canada is still gonna go for the Rise themselves. So if you think you're better, then they are probably just gonna pick them into you. Chili Cells wasn't really close though, like rather not close. Like it was actually fairly close. It came down to some unfortunate misses at the end. So they're going for Oxygen Destroyer here, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah, maybe the
I
lesser
said
of
Lapse
all
of
evils.
Memory, but yeah, going for this instead it's also fine.
It's also a really short map, so not a lot of room for error if you are feeling a little coin flippy on it. But I think the onus falls on Canada to put forth the roster that can contest on this pick. I mean, ABC was pretty convincing when all was said and done. They did have the higher average accuracy for large portions of that chart, but might have just been a bit of a blip on the radar for Malaysia. Maybe not expecting it to come out this quickly, but an opportunity to reorient themselves. Regis coming in for Funeral here, and Dylan, Robert, and Twitch Chat for Canada gonna contest, see if they can get back this breakpoint that they gave over and open themselves up for the opportunity to quickly make this 4-4 if they play their cards right here.
Here it goes then. Malaysia trying to capitalize, get the 5th point into match point. If they lose this, they get a ban though, so at least they have that for them. Should they have their breakpoints against them. But as it stands right now, not much has happened. The map is not really front-loaded or anything, as Malaysia holds ever so slightly a lead here, 1,000 points of advantage of this ratio, but Rejust finds a mistake at the very start of this, as they almost hit the combo cap, instantly followed by Dylan.
Yeah, a couple trades back and forth. On a map as short as this, those misses are going to really get highlighted as we continue on here. It's going to be a bit of a tug-of-war between these two countries as we continue on into the second third. Nobody really eking out an advantage. Does finally settle down, but it's only about 1,000 points in favor of the Malaysians as everybody crosses that 400 combo cap once again.
J-Lai, really. Look at the accuracy difference. It's the only player who's very clearly ahead of everybody else at this point. And off his back is the lead of Malaysia here. 1,900 points is like almost anything really. Can swing very quickly if they are not careful. And now with the miss by White Albino, I mean, that lead just instantly and heavily goes towards the North Americans here.
Yeah, it was a pretty nasty drop. Lost almost 0.4% on that section alone. And that is enough. That is the window that Canada can take and run all the way to this ending. Not out of the woods just yet. Can swing back in Malaysia's favor if Canada doesn't play this outro as clean as possible. But it looks like with the last couple of notes coming down, they have done just enough. That breakpoint is back in their court. It is 4-3 with Canada up to pick and an opportunity to notch this match up. What do they go for here?
I mean,
And
they
most
have to
importantly,
wait for the ban, really, because Malaysia
yep.
gets a chance now to knock a map out of the place. And unexpectedly so, I will say, Canada finds their way to get their breakpoint they needed. And now, if they win their own, it's all equal. If they win their picks from now on, it will go to tiebreaker. And if they breakpoint once more, then just win the match. Rise 4 is going to be the ban here by the Malaysians. So knocking the Danny PX out of the pool. But I'm not really sure if Canada is even going to go for the Rise here. At this point, they won 2 hybrids in a row. Why not a third?
Yeah, they might have found their opening in this
Samurai
match.
the ban here, though.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I was gonna say one of none might have been a outside consideration just based off the fact that it's also a really short map. So that being said, we don't have to really deliberate on that too much. Samurai will be the ban here for Malaysia with Canada up to pick. And now the consideration, do you go for Restless Song? In a situation like this, don't fully commit to the LN leaning hybrid. Just play it slow and go for the lesser of all evils. But no, it's going to be Rice 5. It's going to be Mint Tango coming through here.
I am honestly a bit scared about this pick. I would have maybe gone for those. But if you want to go to the other side of the spectrum for more harder, challenging, physical, then Mint Tango is probably the way to go. Still, I am very, 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 very scared.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this pick just based on Canada's performance on the other Rice pick that was played. A little bit of a different styling, but overall, it just felt like Malaysia just had it a little bit more put together as a team to swing a performance on it. So right now, just waiting on the third for Canada. JLI taking just a second, maybe just needing to take care of something before readying up here. Now for Canada, I mean, who would be that third player? Twitch chat's been a mainstay for most of these maps and might be getting a little fatigued. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe they're just sitting one out to preserve some stamina.
Maps on the map that you require the most amount of stamina to back out your player that's the most physically capable.
Hypothetically.
I'm not so sure. I mean, it could be that Twitch chat is just getting subbed out here if they struggle with like later stage rise. I don't think it's the case, but
no. I think they might just be taking a second to get into the lobby. Yeah, sure enough, there they are right on cue. Looks like everybody is ready. Rosters are settled. Canada on the cusp of tying this match up. Malaysia on the cusp of match point. If they're able to take this break point away from the Canadians, start a bit of a streak here.
It is map number 8. 4th pick here by Canada. Looking to equalize after being down since map 3. Looking to strike the comeback after the breakpoint here to equalize the series again. Mint Tango is the choice, the most tricky of the maps, at least physically. A lot of mini checks in between, strikingly heavy jump stream / stream patterns. Not the easiest to hit properly. It's very easy to choke on a map like this, and let alone hold your accuracy tight and high. And that's what we see. Commando Black, previous time they played, struggle a little bit on the accuracy department, at least to have it immensely high, but they certainly managed to pull the full combo. If that's the case in a map like this, then it's probably better than having a sharpshooter accuracy. If you can secure an FC here, it's very, very important, as it is the most demanding chart of the pool. Robert's accuracy is immense, by the way, it's insane, and so is Twitch Chat's. Those two are above and beyond everyone on the Malaysian side. It's just that Commander Black needs a little bit more time to build that tightness on the concentration. He's rushing a little bit as he stands, and that's causing his accuracy to drop down a little bit, giving the lead early on to Malaysia as we enter the almost second half of the chart here. It's only about 1,200 points, and it's decreasing because everyone's accuracy is slowly chipping away in favor of Canada. Malaysia, despite as a team trying to work together and as a unit, a little bit above Canada, the two players, Robert and Twitch Chat, are just outperforming them all. But now Robert finds a miss.
That's not who you want to see missing if you are a Canadian supporter. That is your highest accuracy going down an FC, and it helps Malaysia build an advantage. 7,000 points. They had already had the advantage just based on the accuracy alone. I mean, Commander was doing great, playing their role very well, just managing to FC their way through. This was probably the task that they were given, and Robert and Twitch Chat just needed to hang on as best as they could. I mean, to be fair, Robert's still holding on to the highest accuracy in this lobby, but that miss is crucial.
My eyes are on Rejas though. Like that key concentration is a bit too spread for my liking. Oh, and they immediately miss as I call that out, but so does Commander Black. They trade blows at the exact same point, so nothing's gonna change. It is now again equal in terms of combo. Despite not having the combo cap, they both miss it at the same time, and now Twitch Chat gets ahead themselves. No more FCs for Canada here, and J-Lai and YT Alvino still holding very, very strong here.
Yeah, this pick not working out in Canada's favor. We were calling into question the pick from the get-go, and unfortunately not working out in their favor. Malaysia making it a match point situation with their pick upcoming. It's just a matter of what they want to go for here. What is that score from JLI? A singular 200, a black flag performance from them. MVPing this lobby pretty convincingly with the support of White Albino and Rejust as well. I mean, to be fair, Robert Twitch Chat put up a valiant effort, 987, 986, able to contest. And Commando Black not too far behind, just not enough to see themselves over the line. Inopportune misses. And overall, a missed opportunity to tie things up here with Malaysia up to pick. I would want to see Rice 3 come through here. Or Hybrid 4.
I mean, if you're Malaysia? Yeah, well, I was about to say, I'm not sure if you go for Rice. Like, honestly, Restless Song. But Lots of Memories probably fine too.
The only reason I keep throwing out these Rice picks is because I don't think Canada's found a lineup rather, to answer Malaysia on this side of the map pool. At least so far in this match, Chili Sauce and Mintango didn't work out in their favor, and they picked both of those willingly. So if I were Malaysia, I would take what I'm given. Those were the two breakpoints in this match. And if you do recall, Oxygen's Destroyer was the one breakpoint that Canada was able to claw back. So decisions to be made at this junction point, and Malaysia really taking their time to deliberate as to what they want to do here. It's going to be Hybrid 4. Lapse of Memory is going to be the pick here. The most LN biased hybrid in this pool. Essentially, another LN pick.
Interesting that they're going for this, considering they went for Oxygen Destroyer before. But like I said, had they not lost that, they would have probably gone for this afterwards. Like, these are the two hybrids I expected them to go for if they really want to avoid Restless Song, because why wouldn't you? It's such an unorthodox and weird map to play. It seems like all players are ready. It's pretty quick. Ready up here. All of the Wise joining once more for Canada. Now it's do or die for them. It's either win this and continue on, or get knocked down to the losers bracket.
Yeah, not the highest of implications, but you want to keep that winners bracket run alive for as long as humanly possible. And as we get this map underway, I imagine there's going to be some twists and turns before this map is over. Just 2 minutes, not the longest by any stretch of the imagination. So definitely want to keep it as clean as humanly possible. And right now, everybody living up to the task. Twitch chat lapsing a little bit, but gonna start to be able to build up that accuracy once again. Maybe just found a couple of straight 200s through that introduction. And it is going to account for this 2,000 point lead for Malaysia.
Oh, Funeral drops the combo though.
Funeral.
The lead goes in hands of the Canadians now, but Hollow the Wise straight stab knees on the 4th column. And as some of their accuracy goes along the way, Malaysia back on the lead now, and by a fair margin, even better than before the miss. That was quite a drop by Hollow the Wise, who every time they miss, they seem to drop so much accuracy on the way.
Yeah, it just feel like, I think we've mentioned it before, but it just feels like a knock-on effect whenever they do find the miss, because the recovery afterwards isn't the cleanest. But for right now, 7,000 points in favor of Malaysia. As we continue on here, both Dylan and Twitch chat, middle of the road 99%, but when you have players like Regus and J-Light kind of holding the fort down, and when you have Otherwise finding a drop in the transition back into the real meat and potatoes of the chart, it makes things go from bad to worse. And I have my doubts about this pick early on, because Canada was up to the task, but it looks like Malaysia is going to be able to put this one away in rather convincing fashion. 22,000 points to the good, and 2 FCs to show for it, as this one is done and dusted. It will be Malaysia punching their ticket into the winners semifinals by a score of 6-3, knocking Canada down into that lower bracket.
A great way to end it there. 20k, pretty good lead for them. And I mean, Canada certainly putting a great fight here. They had a couple of moments where they looked like they could take just the whole matchup, really. But at the end of the day, early LNs were like the best chance to take some breakpoints, really, and they couldn't capitalize off of them. The moment the Rise started rolling, Canada was struggling a little bit to keep the composure. They found their way on the hybrids, but unfortunately, hybrids wasn't enough really to recover from the damage that was already done on the LN department here by Malaysia, who advances to the winners bracket semifinals. Here they will be facing Taiwan, seed number 3. After quite a struggle, Taiwan managed to go through the United Kingdom here, and we have the first winners bracket semifinals matchup decided. The United States as well waiting for Thailand versus Hong Kong, but Canada on the other side will be waiting for the winner between Indonesia and Japan. Both managed to take their opponents down by a scoreline of 6-2. So interesting matchups that we have lining up for next weekend, but still we are not done yet. There is one more winners bracket encounter, Vietnam versus China, and everything else is for the tournament's lives. It's Indonesia versus Japan, Thailand versus Hong Kong, Brazil versus not Denmark, I always struggle with that, it's Germany, DE equals Germany, and then Italy versus Argentina. So interesting matches that we'll have next weekend. I think the next weekend, oh my god, I just really need to sleep, man. It's 2:30 a.m.
It's been a long cast. This was much longer than I think both of us were expecting, but well worth it in the end. Got an amazing tiebreaker, a very close matchup as well following thereafter. But we will take a lengthy break from here. Our next match will be at 10 UTC, Indonesia taking on Japan, before we round out the rest of the weekend. Do not want to miss any more of the action. There's still plenty of more things to settle as we round out this quarterfinals weekend. But until then, we'll catch you guys later.
in your heartbeat. Forever in your heart.